Hello Libra, this is your April forecast for 2017, and listen, we have quite a few retrogrades going on this month that we want to be aware of. So let's start off with them first. We have Mercury, we got Venus, we got Saturn, and Pluto. So Mercury, we know that's a time when we don't really want to sign any contracts unless we have to. Of course, the show must go on. There's times when we can't avoid it, but then just be aware that it can turn a little haywire, perhaps. Now, this Mercury is just inside of your 8th house, and it will retrograde back into your 7th house where it was in March. So it's giving you an extended time to work things out with your partner, whether that is your significant other or maybe it could be people you work with closely, one-on-one, like a broker or whatnot. But yeah, communication, you want to be a little lenient and a little flexible. Things can perhaps get a little delayed or misunderstood as well. And it's in the feisty sign of Aries. So it starts out in Taurus, but it will go back into Aries. So you'll come to see that these conversations that you're having, they're actually pinpointing on issues that were created in the past. Now is a great time to karmically clear those up. Venus, when Venus goes retrograde, it will be until April 15th. It retrograded there in March. And I mentioned that last month too, that it's not a time to go get any tattoos or get any type of surgery or facials or haircuts, anything. Because why? Venus rules beauty, it rules anything there that has to do with fashion too, so it's not really a time to go shopping either. So if you can hold off to after April 15th, that's a good thing. But let's look at the romantic side of Venus. Venus is currently in your 7th house. And so for it is looking at relationship issues. Now Mercury will be there too. Venus though will, after the 3rd, move back into your 6th house. That's where it was operating in March. And that is pretty much where things will come to the surface. And so you might be speaking about how you can share your time in your daily routines. Who's doing what? Who's doing too much? Who's doing too little? How can we balance these things up, right? But the 6th house also has to do with the foods that we eat. It's our health. What can we do now to actually get on board to ensure that our health is good and on the up and up, right? Saturn, when Saturn is retrograde, we're looking at karmic issues. Now Saturn is the taskmaster. It is what tries to help us master the area of where it transits. And of course for you, Saturn is in your 3rd house, has been there now for quite a while. So that rules your closer community. It rules also your siblings. Issues, situations between you and your siblings. There might be things now that are coming to the surface that you might want to talk out. Karmic residue is always a good thing to clear out. But then again, too, the pressure is off. You know, when Saturn is direct, it's asking us to live up to higher standards, to ground ourselves in this area. But when it's retrograde, it's more time to view behind. What did we leave behind that we passed by too quickly without addressing the issue? Those things may come up now, and this also has to do with anything in the areas of communication and short distance travel as well. Pluto is retrograde from April 21st to September 29th, and Pluto for you is in the area of your 4th house, home and family. So many of you Libras have probably been noticing that your home area has been in transformation. Now that can be anything from transforming the domain that you live in, upgrading it, fixing it, maybe moving. Maybe it is the domain of your parents that might be at hand that you've been working with it. Whatever the deal is, and it could be your parents too, or one of them undergoing a deeper sense of transformation and where you somehow are tied into this. When it's retrograde, it's more relaxed. It's not as dynamic or as future-oriented. Again, we're dwelling into the past. What can we improve? Where have we been perhaps a little hasty? not picking up details, as we're moving forward in our life. So we're feeling we're retrograding, looking to how things can improve. This goes for you individually, for all of us individually, but also, let's not forget, on a global scale. So society in itself will be looking to the past. What was good there that we can now focus on and bring forward, right? So there might be a whole lot of issues there politically as well. We have the moons right now. We got the full moon April 10th. And for you, Libra, that is showing up in your first house. And it is because it is in your sign. So you pretty much will be center stage under this full moon, be illuminated. Your personality will come forward. It might be holding your hopes, your dreams, or whatnot. It's crossing the degree of Jupiter. So Jupiter may feel stronger at this time. And so, yes, you can feel that perhaps there might be some new situations that can surface. And if so, you want to look at them and grab them if the opportunity is really, really good. Sometimes, we call those full moons harvest moons. It's what is coming to us after all the new moons that we've had, the full moon we can harvest from. The new moon is going to be April 26th. For you, that will be in your 8th house for shared resources, Libra. So the new moon is always new beginnings, right? Planting new seeds. And in this area, it's all about intimacy between you and your partner. Is it good? Can it improve? What more do you want from this intimacy? So you might put in your intentions here that you'd like to grow this area, but the 8th house also has to do with the shared resources. How are you dividing things between the two of you financially? But the 8th house is also your savings. It is also your retirement funds or investments and so forth. And let's not forget commissions and royalties. So this might be a time to plant new seeds in wanting to grow your investments and your savings. So let's start at the top of the month. Venus will move into, or shall I say, back into Pisces on the 3rd. That's out of your 7th house for relationships, back into what we spoke about, where we're focusing a little bit more on our health and our daily routines and so forth to improve it. On the 6th, though, Mars and Pluto, they're doing the dance in a beautiful trine. Mars is your goals, it's your drive, it's your ambitions, and Mars is really feisty and moving forward in a good way in the sign of Taurus. So you're really hanging on to what you want, what you desire, and the 8th house has to do with money and savings. So you're looking at how can you prepare this area, because it's going to be 2 years before Mars is going to give you the drive or the window of opportunity to do exactly what you're doing right now. So I think you're totally on board, and we're also looking at how these savings can grow through family, because Pluto is in that 4th house. So the two of them together are probably looking at those things. And then, of course, we can talk about wills, testaments, and trusts, and so forth as well, since family is involved. On the 7th through the 9th, it might be a couple of days you want to take a little easy, maybe a little low under the horizon. Why? Because there might be some challenges coming up in differences of opinions. When we make a choice, we always want to look at both sides of the coin. Not be just fully enthusiastic about this is what I want. And Jupiter can do that. Jupiter is full of enthusiasm, right? But then again, there is another side to it. And since both the Sun and Jupiter here, they're opposed, that could mean that you may want one thing, your partner might want something totally else. This is a balance between the 1st and the 7th house. On the 8th and 9th, you might still feel a little lag from it, that you might not have been in total agreement, because now Venus is squaring up on Saturn. And that feels like you're feeling a little blocked from your desire. Venus desires, right? And Saturn's saying, nope, not doing that, not now. Not saying that it can't be later, but for right now, there seems to be that block coming from Saturn, and it's from the area of communication, right? And Venus being there in that 7th house, or right now it's probably just moved in back into that 6th house, but the issue is coming from a partner. And you might want to vent on the 9th, you know, if it has been stagnant for 2 days and no agreement has been made. Recall, though, that what's looming right now is the slowdown of Mercury wanting to prepare itself for the retrograde on the 9th. No, on the 10th, I'm sorry. But on the 9th, the Sun and Pluto are square. The Sun being you, and Pluto is wanting to react, it's wanting to fume a little bit, and Mercury is not really doing a whole lot good for you because it's just about to stop before it retrogrades. So we have a reactional day on the 9th. On the 14th, though, I think you could come to experience some unexpected good surprise. This is when the Sun and Uranus meets up in a conjunction, meaning that they share the same degree in the sky. This is in your 7th house, Libra. So that is from your partner, between you and your partner. If you're single, well, then somebody that you partner with or work very closely with, that's where the area of surprise may come from. Now on the 15th, Venus, as we mentioned, turns direct from its retrograde. So it's going to stay stable there for a day or so, and then it's going to start picking up speed and move into your 7th house, and it will remain there for the rest of this month. So you'll see that Venus now will be working with partnerships, all right, love and your significant other. If you're single, then that would be a great time to maybe meet that new person. But the romantic date of the night this month will be on the 17th, when Venus and Mars do the dance, when they are happy, they're harmonious, they're very productive, they're very romantic. So this is a date night for you in a relationship. And if you're single, listen, don't sit at home. This is a time to go out. You might just find somebody that you could be very, not just happy with, but it holds a signature of longevity. And it's because the Sun, which is you, represents you, and Saturn, which represents longevity, right, is coming into a beautiful trine. So you might just meet that person and feel that connection. And remember, Saturn also is retrograde. It could be an ex, sure, but it could be a far long gone ex, meaning a past life love, karmic love, soulmate type energy coming in and ensuring that you're meant to be here and now to develop what you're meant to develop. On the 19th, the Sun is moving into Taurus. This gives us a different focus altogether. We've been very energetic while the Sun was moving through Aries, because that gave us more of that Marsy energy. That goes for all of us. But now we're going to be focusing on the things that we want, need, and desire. And nobody's better at obtaining those things than Taurus. They're very focused and hands-on on those things that they want. So we're going to feel that too. On the 20th, we have the Sun and Mercury. They are conjunct. And it's funny though, because it's happening on the cusp, right? So it's happening on the cusp between your 7th and 8th house. The Sun is moving from the 7th into the 8th. Mercury's meeting you in the doorway, so to speak, coming from the 8th, going into the 7th. So it's like meeting yourself in the mirror. So that's an interesting day to pay attention to. Then on the 21st, Mars is moving into the sign of Gemini. This allows us to become more versatile. Think about Geminis. They always have a lot of ongoing projects, not just one at a time. We find ourselves dividing our attention to several layers. So, and Mars is going to be very busy here. Now, the 9th house has to do with education, taking a class, a course. It may be taking an exam, preparing for an exam. The 9th house is also travel, so some of you might start feeling that itch, that longing to go out and explore, right? Because the 9th house is a Sagittarian house, which is the adventurer, and Gemini is very curious to go out and adventure and have those experiences. So this is a great time if any of you are going to think about having an early vacation this year. This would be a great time from the 21st of April and probably straight through that of May. Then we have the 21st, Venus and Saturn are going to square up. Now they squared on the 8th, but now both of them, or should I say they were both retrograde, all right, on the 8th. But now Venus is direct, Saturn's still retrograde. So I'm feeling if something really went off your hinges on the 8th, think back to what that was about, and then see how it will resurrect here on the 21st, giving you a second chance to look at it. Maybe now you can find a different solution to be able to move forward with things, and I'm feeling you should be doing good, even though this is a square, but you're being supported by both Mercury and Saturn, which at this time both are retrograde. They're coming in on the 24th. So that means that whoever you're involved with in this little conflict will have had time to think and process, and maybe even regret certain things or words being said, and then getting on the same page now, because even though they're both retrograde, they are in a beautiful trine, meaning that it's one of the best aspects we can have, right? So interesting days between the 21st and 24th. This brings us to the end of the month, Libra. We have Mercury and Uranus conjunct, and that is when we get these unexpected surprises or informations. It can be a phone call, a text, an email, whatever it is. Maybe you're going to bump into somebody, but it has to do with Uranus. And that has to do with your relationships or somebody that you work with closely. They might relay an unexpected insight for you, or you might be the one that could surprise them one way or another. But in the overall, this is what your chart is showing this month. You might want to listen to your moon or rising sign, and you'll find them up here on the playlist under the I button here, the information button, so it's easily for you to go find instead of go searching on the net. So listen, I will see you in May. Have a wonderful month. Bye now.